Hello and thank you for visiting. In today's video, we are discussing some upcoming spring trends, which I think you have to ditch. Well, maybe not exactly ditch, because I am giving you suggestions on how to make these trends more wearable. But remember, please don't ever wear something just because it's trendy. Wear it because you love it, and don't let videos like this ever deter you from wearing what you love. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so let's chat in the comments down below, and let's get right into it. This knee and calf grazing pant style from the 1950s and 60s had a revival in the early aughts. So of course, it is now rearing its ugly little head back again here in the spring of 2024. We saw a little sprinkle of this trend last summer, but it didn't catch on that well. However, it was shown on the runways again for spring 24, so I am projecting that it's going to make a bigger presence this season. These very awkwardly cropped pants break that mid-calf rule that I'm so explicit about. If you're going for the capri length that cuts you off mid-calf, it is cutting you off at the thickest part of your lower leg, creating a very unflattering look and also shortening your frame. I'm not one to follow a lot of style rules, but that is a tried and true rule that will always make you look a little frumpy and less put together. If you do opt for this trend, I recommend that you opt for a pant that cuts you off right below the knee, that's a little more flattering than those mid-calf cutters. And I do suggest trying to stick to a monochromatic look when you're going with capri pants. That will at least help elongate your frame a little bit and try to counteract the shortening of your leg due to those capris. If you are hung up on that mid-calf style and you love it, I do suggest that you opt away from the capri pants and maybe go more for a midi length skirt. The skirt at least has a little bit of float to it, so if it's cutting you off mid-calf, it's not as bad as a very tight, rigid cutoff at that very unflattering part. Sheer and transparent skirts rose in popularity a few seasons ago, and they're continuing to stay strong through this season as well. This is a very polarizing trend. You might hate it because of its lack of modesty, or you might love it because you resonate with that whole female empowerment, love your body, be nude, show the nipple off, show the body off, that kind of movement, and that might be something that you are really drawn to. Well, I definitely have mixed feelings about this trend. I do love a sheer trend as long as the bits and pieces underneath are modestly covered, leaving some things to the imagination. I think that is always sexiest. I would approach this trend maybe not with some underwear underneath a sheer skirt, as I think that is a little too revealing and somewhat crosses that line of being tasteful and elegant. But I would wear a sheer skirt if it was accompanied with a little mini slip underneath. That way I'm showing a lot of leg, but I'm not having my panties all out on show. I would also attempt the sheer skirt trend, perhaps with an oversized sweater, one that covers your bum. Now this is usually a way that I don't like to style a sweater and a skirt combination. I usually like to show my waistline, try to tuck the sweater either into my bra or into the skirt slightly. But in this case, since I'm trying to hide my underwear, I would definitely opt for a larger sweater. I think either option can be very classy yet sophisticated and a little hint of sexiness, which is just the way I love to dress. And speaking of no panties, the no pants trend caught our side eye back in 2022, but designers are continuing to send this very alienating, provocative trend down the runways this season. Although we've seen celebs like Bella, Kylie, Kendall, and Hailey prance around without any pants, I don't think I've really seen this trend hit the mainstream quite yet, with the exception of a few people I saw in Vegas. I don't know about you, but I can certainly not get behind this trend. Get it? Behind panties? Designers did attempt to give this slightly obscene trend a little more of a dignified look by pairing it with blazers for an office attire look. Now, I'm sure that was very exaggerated for the runways. Personally, I would not opt for panties in the office, but I would love to try the shorts suit trend, as I think that is far more wearable, far more chic, elegant, and sophisticated. This divisive clothing accent cycles in and out of fashion every couple of seasons, but this spring designers decided to take a very flashy approach to fringe and create more of a metallic, glam, think roaring 20s, flapper style, but modernized. This is definitely not your Western boho style type of fringe. This is a trend I have never jumped on in the past because it's never fit my style. But when you throw a little metallic and glam into the mix, I can hardly resist. However, I would say if I were to approach this trend for this coming spring, I would keep it very minimal and minute. I'd most likely save it for an evening look or a date night look, perhaps as a little trim of fringe on the edge of a mini skirt or a dress, or maybe even a little accent on a small handbag. I think this trend is very chic and sophisticated when it remains understated and minimal. Here we go again this spring with the return of the bubble hem. On some runways we saw it in a very subtle way with some floor grazing bubble hems, while on others it was more exaggerated as well as reimagined into tops and also trousers. Playing up to this girly, hyper-feminized aesthetic that we're currently seeing, baby dolls and mini dresses also made their way on the catwalk. We saw everything from 60s inspired mod style to some Baroque style, some draped nudes, and even rhinestone sequin encrusted micro minis. If approached incorrectly, I think both of these styles can look a little too youthful. Now take it from me, I'm the last one that wants to look my age. I definitely always want to look a little younger than I am, but I also don't want to appear childish. If I were to try these two trends out, I would definitely look for some simple, clean lines with a little less glam and sparkle in this case, because I think that would give a more sophisticated and grown-up look. This retro 1950s throwback is back again for spring 24. We saw this very whimsical feminine motif show itself on the runways in various colors, styles, and sizes. If done correctly, this pattern could look very sophisticated and chic, but when it's done wrong, it has the opposite effect. It could look very juvenile, youthful, and too playful. I'm not the biggest fan of polka dots, but I would approach this pattern in a very minimal, dainty sort of way. I think a subtle print with some small dots and not a lot of contrast between the background and the dot makes it for a little more of a sophisticated look. I also do love a polka dot as a minimal accent on a scarf or maybe even a sock. And speaking of socks, socks are making a huge statement this spring. From sheer knee highs to leg warmers to little ankle huggers, we saw all types of socks on the runways paired with ballerinas, kitten heels, and even open-toe sandals. Right up there with bubble hems and polka dots, you can easily construe this trend as being very playful, flirty, youthful, and juvenile. But for some reason, I'm more drawn to the sock trend than I am to the other two. More so because it just adds a little hint of playfulness to the outfit rather than being an overwhelming full-piece garment. Personally, I do prefer a little mini sock or maybe even a leg warmer ballerina type of sock as opposed to those very grandma chic, sheer, black knee-high stocking pantyhose ones that we're seeing, because I do feel like those could look a little more like a fashion faux pas than an actual intended styling accessory. If done incorrectly, those sheer knee-high stockings could look a little too much like my Yaya, and as much as I loved her, I didn't really want to emulate her style. So definitely tread carefully when you're playing with this trend, but remember to have fun with it. Please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it or found it entertaining, and if you are new here, please check that you are subscribed below. If you're not, please go ahead and hit that button. It really helps support the channel so much, and I really think you're gonna love it here. Make sure you leave your favorite or least favorite trend in the comments below, because I love to chat with you. Please click on one of these two videos next to see more from me. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate all your love and support, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.